The subject I want to discuss here today is the fact that the United Nations has lost it. When it comes to Israel, the UN has lost credibility, lost common sense, and more than anything, lost its most important asset, its integrity. The United Nations Human Rights Council treatment of Israel has strayed from the boundaries of legitimate criticism long ago. It has become a disturbing obsession. In the past decade, the Council has voted for 61 resolutions condemning human rights abuses across the world, and 67 resolutions which condemned Israel. Let me repeat this for you. The Council has condemned Israel, a democratic country which upholds international law, more times than the rest of the world combined. No one said a word about Israel defending women's rights and gay rights. No one said a word about Israel Arab citizens sitting in its parliament and on its Supreme Court and all in its public institutions. In short, no one said a word about Israel being a thriving democracy embodying as its way of life anything the United Nations exists to promote. Israel enemies, on the other hand, hang gay people from telephone poles, believe women are the property of their husband, and obviously do not believe in institutions like the United Nations. The resolution condemned what it termed the Israeli occupation of the Golan Heights. There was no explanation how this might be relevant to health issues. 200 meters from the Israeli Golan in Syria, hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children are being massacred, and that wasn't mentioned even once. In fact, the only connection between the Israeli Golan and health issues is that for the past few years, Israel has quietly rescued hundreds of Syrian children who were injured in the fighting and treated them in our hospitals. The resolution also contained a series of false facts based on disgraceful Palestinian propaganda in a report presented to the World Health Organization. For example, the report argues that Israel injects Palestinians with viruses which cause cancer. This is a monstrous accusation, which wouldn't be out of place in Der Stürmer. And yet it was published without a shred of proof. Instead of an organization which protects freedom, democracy, liberal values, and world peace, parts of the UN has become the opposite. They have become collaborators with fundamentalist Islam and operatives for terror organizations like Hamas and like Hezbollah. Instead of serious debate about the problems of the world, the UN distributes disgraceful anti-Semitic propaganda. In this context, the relative silence of the United States and other democracies is distressing. The United States, our great friend and ally, funds 22% of the United Nations budget. In fact, 6 countries, the United States, Japan, France, Britain, Italy, and Germany, fund around 65% of the budget. All that is needed is for those countries to raise their voice and say loud and clear, they are unwilling to allow this to continue. This wild and fabricated attacks on Israel needs to be stopped. The UN cannot take American money, American resources, and American support and use them for a campaign that supports the destruction of the Jewish state. If the UN Human Rights Council wants democratic countries to continue to support it, it should act according to democratic values. It should be based first and foremost on the truth. Attacks on a democratic country committed to human rights in the service of murderous terror organizations is not in the United Nations mandate. There is no reason the United States and other democracies should agree to fund it. The organization which preached justice and equality has been the subject of a hostile takeover. It's time for the democracies of the world to regain control of the United Nations. Thank you very much. Thank you.